Trump had kept silent, until now. Newly unsealed documents blew open the Russia narrative, and what Donald Trump did next sent shockwaves through Washington. The media tried to smother it. D.C. insiders panicked. But by week's end, the truth was out, and it hit harder than anyone expected. Before we dive into what Trump revealed, drop your location in the comments and hit subscribe, because what you're about to hear was never meant to reach the public. It started with a single page. A classified memo from the Director of National Intelligence had just been declassified. Within hours, it rippled through Capitol Hill. And at the center of that ripple, a name America hadn't heard in a while: Hillary Clinton. Cable news scrambled. Experts tried to stay composed, but one undeniable detail exploded off the page. Declassified CIA briefings showed Clinton had greenlit a plan to tie Donald Trump to Russian interference, with no hard evidence. It was an old trick with new consequences. For years, that report sat buried deep in agency archives, quietly shared with oversight committees, never the public. But now, the cat was out. Anchors leaned in. We're reviewing breaking documents from the ODNI that appear to implicate former Secretary Clinton in a deliberate political operation, one host said, barely concealing the tension in her voice. In Florida, Trump sat alone in his study at Mar-a-Lago. The TV flashed his name beside hers, again, but this time the roles had flipped. He leaned in, muttered, "She knew. They all knew." And then it began. His Truth Social lit up. "We were right. We've always been right. Now the world sees it. Stay tuned." But he wasn't done tweeting. Trump picked up the phone. "What do they know right now?" He asked a trusted aide from the Oversight Committee. "They're in emergency mode," came the reply. "Jordan's office is already drafting hearings. This isn't a headline, it's a movement." By morning, the headlines were everywhere. New docs raise, questions about Clinton campaign tactics. Election meddling, the boomerang effect. But for Trump, this wasn't about revenge. Something in him had shifted. At a press briefing the next day, he went off script. "I should have gone after her," he said, locking eyes with the press. "But I didn't want to divide the country. That was a mistake." A hush fell over the room. That was just the start. In a private room at Mar-a-Lago, Trump sat with his campaign manager, a former national security advisor, and a conservative media ally. Spread across the table, stacks of redacted CIA memos, internal notes, and a timeline that told a damning story. Trump pointed at one date, July 26, 2016. "This memo, this is the genesis." Brennan briefed Obama. They knew what she was doing, and they let it happen. His voice was calm, cold, focused. His campaign manager warned, "If we move too fast, it'll look like vengeance. If we wait too long, they'll bury it again." Trump didn't flinch. "This isn't about optics. It's about truth." Then came the plan. No campaign rally, no tweet storm, just facts, live and direct. "You go live," his media advisor said. "One camera, one flag, no slogans, just the evidence." Trump nodded. "Let them deny it." Back in Washington, Democrats scrambled. Clinton's team issued a tight, robotic denial. "We categorically reject these claims." But something was off. Trump had been quiet for weeks. Now he was orchestrating a reveal. Saturday night, prime time. No stadium, no crowd, just Trump seated in a stark Manhattan studio, a desk, a flag, and a stack of cleared documents. He looked straight into the camera. "What you're about to see," he began, "is what they've kept from you for years." He held up the first memo. "This is a CIA briefing from July 2016. It shows Clinton authorized a plan to falsely tie me to Russia. Not based on intel, based on political survival. Her emails, Benghazi, the scandals they never touched." He flipped a page. Brennan briefed Obama. The entire intelligence network got involved. They didn't stop the lie, they amplified it. Screens everywhere cut to scanned pages. Viewers paused, zoomed, read. But Trump wasn't done. "There's more," he said, tapping another pile. "This connects to stem cell funding, unregulated medical experiments, silencing of whistleblowers like Dr. Mary Bowden and RFK Jr. He stared directly at viewers. They were right, and they were punished for it. Footage rolled, clips of censored doctors, patients testifying about injuries, memos showing internal doubts inside government health offices. Then Trump dropped the final line. "I regret not going after them when I had the chance, but that ends now. The feed cut, no outro, just a black screen. To be continued." The silence afterward was thunderous, and in Chappaqua, Hillary Clinton turned off her TV. No emotion, no words. By Sunday morning, Washington was on fire. Staffers across Capitol Hill scrambled. Networks scrambled. The White House canceled all public appearances. CNN tiptoed. "We're still working to verify the full context of what was released." Fox News declared, "The Clinton files." By noon, the story was unavoidable. Inside the House Oversight Committee, Jim Jordan stared down at a thick folder. "Confirmed by ODNI," a staffer said. "These documents are real. They were cleared weeks ago." Nobody paid attention until Trump read them out loud. Jordan's eyes narrowed. "Then it's time." Meanwhile, Democrats huddled. Hakeem Jeffries called a closed-door meeting. "If we don't control this now, it'll spiral," an aide warned. "He's tying it to Ukraine, Big Pharma, everything." "We stick to one narrative," Jeffries said. "Disinformation, Russian influence, Trump's obsession with revenge." But not everyone was convinced. A young congresswoman from Arizona leaned in. "What if it's real?" Silence. Outside, protests exploded. Some demanded Clinton and Obama be investigated. Others shouted that Trump had just committed an act of treason. Both sides wanted truth. Neither trusted the other. Then came the next post. "Tomorrow, part 2. What they never wanted you to see." Speculation boiled. What else did he have? Monday morning, 8 p.m. locked. And when the time came, Trump sat again in the same studio. Same desk, another stack of papers. "This is part 2, he began. "What I'm about to show you confirms that they knew the Russia story lacked evidence, and buried that fact to push it anyway." He held up a memo. August 2016, highlighted in yellow, "Concerns over lack of direct evidence." They ignored it and kept going. Then the bombshell, Ukraine. These documents show how they manipulated that story too, before the impeachment circus ever began. They knew it was unraveling. They used it anyway. Emails flashed on screen. Internal messages, names, subject lines. Then came the next pivot. "We're talking about medical corruption," Trump said. "RFK Jr. warned us. So did others. Stem cells, vaccine cover-ups. I have documents showing. They discussed silencing dissenting doctors." He paused. "And now, it's time to name names." The screen faded. Part 3, the money trail, coming soon. Hashtags exploded. Clinton files, truth, from Trump. Deep state docs. For some, it felt like vindication. For others, chaos. But Trump wasn't finished. By Tuesday, D.C. was in full lockdown mode. Democrats publicly dismissed it as propaganda. Privately, they panicked. At DNC HQ, Clinton sat at the head of a table as her lawyers flipped through every leaked page. Aide after aide whispered, argued, circled details. But Hillary didn't say a word. She'd seen enough. Finally, one advisor said what no one dared. "We can't keep denying these are real." The CIA verified the documents. Not speculation, confirmation. And with that, control of the narrative began slipping. Hillary stared at the screen, stone-faced. Then she gave the order. "Shift the story." "How?" "Easy," she said. "Make it about Trump, His motives, his ego, paint him as a desperate man latching onto old conspiracies. Voters don't care about files. They care about character. Remind them who he is. But this time, it wasn't working. The pushback felt hollow. In private, moderate Democrats grew anxious. One senior senator, usually loyal to the party line, was overheard saying, "If even a quarter of this holds up, we've got a serious mess." Meanwhile, Republicans surged with energy. Hearings were fast-tracked. Jim Jordan launched a subcommittee, the political weaponization of intelligence. When pressed about Clinton, he smirked. Let's just say, she's not off the table. Trump responded with fire. They knew, they bankrolled it, they buried it, and we're not done. The third release was coming. This time, he said, we follow the cash. The Department of Justice panicked. Late-night meetings, hurried reviews of FISA abuses, Steele dossier memos, and now declassified briefs. A retired DOJ official called it a stain that won't wash out. And Trump wasn't finished. On Truth Social, he dropped a clip of RFK, Jr. from years ago, speaking on vaccine trials and censorship. His caption, "He warned you." Hours later, Dr. Mary Bowden, the Texas physician silenced for questioning the COVID narrative, released a statement. "We were mocked, threatened. Now I'm ready to testify." The walls closed in. Clinton's legal team prepped a response, but it felt too late. Independent journalists poured through every file Trump posted. YouTubers, podcasters, analysts, they broke it down, line by line. This wasn't just Trump's story anymore. It was a reckoning. By Wednesday night, the third broadcast dropped. The theme? Follow the money. Calmly, Trump began. Tonight, I show you where it leads. Campaigns, corporations, foreign donors, and why they hid it. He held up a file. This payment, $412,000, from a D.C. tech firm tied to Hillary's campaign. That same firm had undisclosed contracts with the FBI. That's not coincidence. That's coordination. He turned another page. Here, millions in donations from big pharma to public health nonprofits, which just happened to employ senior CDC and NIH advisors. The same advisors who silenced doctors and called truth misinformation. Side by side, screenshots lit the screen. IRS 990 forms, overlaid with headlines. The implication was unmistakable, a coordinated network of influence, money, and censorship. He leaned forward. During my presidency, I was told not to touch Hillary. Said it would fracture the country. But the DOJ, they protected her anyway, quietly. FOIA docs now prove it. This wasn't justice, it was optics. Then he dropped. The line that changed everything. This isn't about one campaign, this is about a system. Politicians, agencies, media, corporations, all working together to control truth. Social media erupted. Telegram threads, Reddit, X, and live streams exploded with side-by-side receipts. Clinton's camp issued a terse reply, desperate fiction. But the silence from others was louder. Democrats dodged interviews. Legacy media hesitated. Even Obama-era officials went dark. Thursday night, Trump returned. No set, no desk, just voice over black. Before we talk policy, we talk consequence. This is about what happens when the powerful don't pay the price. Footage rolled. A Manhattan vigil, candles, tears, handwritten notes. Trump's voice continued. Weeks ago, a tragedy hit this city. The suspect had been flagged. Mental health concerns noted. But under a federal reform initiative, they were released. He held up a file. This wasn't just local. The program was backed by a federal grant, tied to a foundation linked to a prominent political figure. Screens flashed highlighted memos, risk assessment reports, emails. They called it reform. They called it progress. But it ignored every warning, Trump said. We debate policy, but who pays the price when it fails? Not the authors, not the influencers. It's families. It's kids. It's neighborhoods. The screen went dark. Again. But the conversation didn't. Local media began tracing the grant. A whistleblower emerged on a podcast, confirming it all. Trump followed up with a single chilling sentence: "No more using tragedy for cover. Truth is the only real protection." Friday. Afternoon. He appeared once more, alone. No graphics. Just the Constitution in one hand and a weathered manila folder in the other. He looked directly into the camera. "There's something I have to say before this ends." A pause. I should have gone after her. He let it hang. "In 2016, I wanted peace. They chanted, 'Lock her up.' I said no, not because I thought she was clean, but because I thought we needed healing." He opened the folder. Day 1 briefing. "Intelligence agencies warned, touch her, and we trigger a constitutional crisis." He looked down. "So I didn't, and that was my biggest mistake. I thought I was showing maturity, but it wasn't. It was permission. Permission for them to lie louder, to weaponize silence." Then, softly, "This Constitution, it's not a prop, it's a promise, and I broke it by staying silent." The tone wasn't rage, it was regret, a rare kind. "I was elected to protect the people, but I protected the system. That ends now." He announced an independent review task force, retired judges, whistleblowers, former prosecutors, not to seek revenge, to restore trust. Redemption over retribution. The feed cut. No outro, no applause, just stillness. And in that moment, even skeptics paused. Not to agree, but to listen. Saturday night. Final broadcast. A plain table, a microphone, no theatrics. You've seen it, the emails, the files, the money. So now the question: will anything happen? A beat. "That's up to you." He walked slowly through a dark hallway lined with history: soldiers, rallies, nurses, construction workers. He stopped at a photo from 2016. This stopped being about Hillary, or even me. This is about whether truth still matters. He turned. "The same people who smeared me as a Russian asset? They wrote the lie? The ones who shouted science? Silenced the scientists, the unity preachers, funded division? And worst of all, they got away with it, because no one made them stop." Then came the twist. "No lawsuits, no revenge. What I'm doing next, they never expected." He re-entered the original room, but the desk was empty. "Every document I've shown, every file, is now yours." All of it. A URL appeared: truthfiles.gov, a public archive, full transparency. Fact-check it, investigate it, or ignore it. That choice is yours. Final images. Americans reading, watching, questioning. Then Trump's voice once more. "We either face truth now, or hand our children a lie so big they'll never know what freedom meant." The screen went dark. 6 words remained. "Now it's your turn. Decide wisely." And just like that, the week ended. Not with a cheer, but with a challenge.